For every subscriber, he will remove one follicle of hair from his beard.
He'll shave everything but his face.
It's impossible to hear butt his face without laughing at butt face.
All right, I think we're in a good mood for this.
Okay.
Thank God. Welcome to episode 3 of Rather Be Playing, the podcast where we talk about how we'd rather be playing games than waking up in Reno. I'm Josh.
I'm Elliot.
And I'm Stevo.
You went to Reno.
Yeah. Sorry. Don't go to Reno.
Are you serious? The pictures were pretty impressive.
Yeah, that wasn't Reno. That was Tahoe.
Okay.
Is Tahoe in the Reno city limits, or is it?
No, it's nearby. It's not very far. It's I don't know, like an hour, maybe an hour and a half drive. It's not far at all. But yeah, we just flew into Reno, and so we rented a car and went out from there. But it's just, yeah, Reno sucks. I mean, I'm not even a big fan of Vegas, but Reno is just like a shittier version of Vegas, which
it's a little Vegas. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's the biggest little city in the world. That's the whole slogan they've got there. And it's, yeah.
How long were you there for?
I was just there for a couple days. My wife's got a conference down there, so I went down a little early for the weekend, and so we could go explore Tahoe.
So did you not have anyone to entertain you while she was at the conferences all day, or what was the problem?
No.
Gamble.
The week
slot machines.
No. She didn't start that till today. So the weekend was free, so we were off doing whatever.
Wait, you left her there and came back?
Yep.
To record the podcast.
Yeah, I know. I'm that dedicated.
Josh, that's dedication. I'm impressed.
What a guy.
No,
what a guy.
I just have a job, so I have to come back and do it. so that she can, go spend all my money in Reno.
Your job being the podcast.
Exactly. I totally do this all day, every day, and don't actually work for a living.
Please subscribe.
Oh, God.
Actually, I went to Reno once when I was a kid by accident. We were visiting San Francisco, some family that we have out there, and we were driving around Lake Tahoe. I was like 16. I was just a kid, and my dad was doing all the driving, and we got lost around Tahoe and accidentally ended up in Nevada, accidentally drove through Carson City, accidentally drove through Reno, and then went back into California. And I was like, my first time in Nevada was just getting lost around the lake. It's Yes, we were trying to get to Aspen.
Well, Aspen's in Colorado.
Yeah, that was the joke.
I know. Also
that was a joke.
I figured, but still. So when you said accidentally, I was actually okay with that until you said you just kind of kept going, because I accidentally went to Mexico once, so it makes sense.
How is there a story there, or should we just come back to this later?
It's short. I was in 6th grade, and my friend's dad was taking us to like a minor league hockey game, and we missed the turnoff, and the only way to go was to Juarez. So we basically had to go through customs and say, hey, we just want to turn around because we fucked up. But the only turnaround was like 10 miles into Mexico, so we had to go in and back around.
Whoa.
Yeah, so
I suppose it would look really suspicious if you're approaching the border and then just like flipped around and fishtailed out.
Just picked up a couple of guys, threw them in the trunk, and then straight back to the U.S.
Bringing these 12-year-olds to Mexico. It's totally legit. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that was my exciting weekend. How about you guys?
I didn't do anything.
Okay, well, mine was much more exciting than that. Actually, it was an exciting week. I took a little trip back home to see family in Ireland, and before that, managed to head to Liverpool and watch the final game of the season. The greatest football team ever. Liverpool Football Club, by the way. Yeah,
that sounded like an incredible time.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Final game of the season, battered Middlesbrough 3-0. So consolidated our Champions League space. Well, we still have to qualify, but come on, that's going to be easy. And then went to see family, and then went to Estonia, as you do.
Of course.
Nice.
Did I tell you I went to Lithuania and accidentally got lost driving around the lake and ended up in... No, I'm just...
A note for all of our American listeners. Football means soccer.
Oh, God, no. Football is real football. You can call your American football something else. Or just call it American football. We can agree on that.
I have an Australian friend who always thought it was called gridiron. Like, he thought that's what we called it. That's what everyone else called it. Because they have their own football as well.
Because of a video game a long, long time ago that was called Gridiron? Or
no, it's called gridiron football. Like, I mean,
there's also an Adam Sandler movie called Gridiron. What's the one where they're playing in the prison?
That is not called Gridiron.
That's called The Longest Yard.
Yeah. Okay, Elliot. No.
And that's a remake of a Burt Reynolds movie.
Why do I think the word gridiron was involved?
I mean,
anyway,
gridiron is an actual phrase. Yes, Estonia. Go, Steve.
Estonia. Great food, cheap booze. It's basically on the way to Finland.
Sounds like a baby shower.
It was a lot better than a baby shower.
I hope so.
It was good friends, bachelor party. Oh, I said bachelor party. I should have said stag do. That's what an Irish person would have said. And then the actual wedding itself was in Finland, which was, again, lovely country, a lot more expensive than Estonia, unfortunately. But a lot of pints were drank, a lot of jokes were made. Yeah. It was a cracking week all in.
So why'd you come back?
Bachelor party in Estonia, wedding in Finland.
Yep.
Liverpool. Was this like is this like a James Bond wedding? Like, what the hell? You're going all over the world.
I think you have to be clean shaven to be James Bond. I don't think I fit the profile.
That's true.
And also English. Come on, for shame.
Yeah.
But no,
Pierce Brosnan was.
It just all came
Sean
together.
Connery?
You know.
Sean,
I can do a Scottish accent if you force me.
That's terrible.
All right, I'll never do that again.
We should have played GoldenEye for our game this week.
God.
But Josh, why did I come back? I came back to play Chrono Trigger, obviously.
That's a good reason.
Backlog roulette. You got to do what you got to do, you know?
It's true.
Yep.
I'm glad you're finally making some progress.
Yep. It's coming together.
You just got Robo, right?
Yeah, I did. But
I was just going to say before we get into that, Josh and I will be going out of town at the end of the month. We'll be in Asia on completely unrelated and very coincidental trips. You're going to Korea, and I'll be in Japan.
Yeah, mine's the week after yours, I think, right?
Oh, I thought we'd be there at about the same time.
No, I'm at the end. I leave. I'm there like the first week of July.
Yep, me too.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
I'm there for like 2 weeks though, so we're going like a week before that, but we'll be there while you're there.
Gotcha.
Probably won't bump into you, but as a result, our show format is every 2 weeks. So we're going to bank a few episodes in rapid succession here. And by rapid succession, I mean at the rate of most normal podcasts, which is once a week. So we're not going to give ourselves as much time to play the games that we're supposed to be playing. And we're going to kind of open up the topic a little bit, kind of talk about other things going on in the game industry and news that we've heard about. So bear with us. Maybe it'll be better. If it is, tell us, and we'll just keep doing this forever.
And we're really just that fucking interesting. So it's really a good thing that you're getting to listen to us talk about other things. So
in fairness, though, guys, like we should be able to play these games and knock them out. If we were all called Josh, we would be able to do that.
Yeah, we would.
Fortunately, again, myself and Elliot holding the whole show up, aren't we?
I know.
I'm turning my phone off while I'm in Korea. You can't call me for shit.
This is the first week, though, that Josh didn't finish his game.
Wow.
I didn't. I've been busy.
I know.
I ended up beating another game.
Good Lord.
I have played some Doom. I'm 4 levels in. I'm getting there. I'm just it's just 4 levels in. I'm kind of getting used to all the punching and shooting flow of the game. It's a lot of fun so far. I kind of want to get it streaming up on our Twitch channel, which is Rather Be Playing, by the way. But I'm having
Twitch TV.
Yeah.
/ Rather Be Playing.
I'm having some massive issues with open broadcasting software, so I'm trying to figure out why the hell it's not streaming correctly. I'm literally like half a city away from the Twitch server in Seattle, so I don't know what the hell's going on. So
who's your internet provider?
Comcast, so it's wonderful.
Name them and shame them, lads. That's how we do it here.
It's my only option, sadly, in this apartment. So
this episode is brought to you by Comcast Xfinity. It's not.
For when
Go
you
on.
For when you want to have the internet but not use it. So
that's fantastic.
I know I should come up with taglines for him. So yeah, Doom's on its way. I also ended up playing. Well, no, you guys go ahead. How are your roulette games going?
No, hang on, Josh. Finish the thought. For a start, how could you put Doom down? That's what I want to know. I gave you this for a reason. This is my gift to you. You know, it's so playable. It's so fun. How could you, who blitzes through games, like give it a hard stop or whatever?
I don't know. I have been busy during the evenings. Like my wife's had me go into some things here and there in the evenings, and I'll play a level and it's fun. It's not like I'm not enjoying the game. It's just, I don't know, when I need a break, I guess is the way to put it. Like in between each level is a nice break for me, because it's a very hectic game, and I'm still looking for secrets in each level. So I am taking my time within each level. So it's a little bit of, it's taking a lot longer than I thought it would per level. So I just kind of need a little bit of downtime in between each one before I get back to it. It's so far I'm really enjoying it. It's just, I've been busy, and it's just, I'm going to finish it. It's just, and I will have it finished by the next episode, because like I said, my wife's gone for the week, so I'll have plenty of time. The
level structure is kind of good like that, though. In the same way as like watching a series or something, you can watch an episode and then put it down, do something else, and jump straight back in there, And they added the arcade mode as well.
I haven't touched that yet.
So the idea is just that you play one of the missions and you're trying to get through it as quickly as possible with as many bonus multipliers for, variation of how you kill people and glory kills and stuff, It's fun. It's the only thing that I've jumped back into since finishing it whenever a year or so ago, But
I'll just take a look at it once I actually get it done.
I booted it up the other day and saw there was a multiplayer mode.
There always has been.
Yeah.
Is that
so? They kind of tried to Modern Warfare it a little bit. I think it's like you level up and you get different guns or powers or something. I think it was distinctly average, so I'm not sure many people stuck with it for long.
Yeah. I haven't heard too much about Doom's multiplayer. I mean, I'm sure some people play it, but most people I've talked to about it tend to play it because of the campaign and just the general gunplay of the game, not necessarily playing with friends or things like that.
Yeah, Devon. So what distracted you?
The problem with Doom right now is that I don't want to stream it to my Steam Link. So it's a little too hectic. I mean, I have everything wired, but every now and again my Steam Link gets choppy, and it's just not the kind of thing I want to use to play Doom. So
wait, but it's a first person shooter. Why would you put a controller on it?
Well, that's my point. Is I'm saying sometimes I'm on the couch and I'm just like, I don't really want to get up to my computer and go play.
Yeah, on a lazy day, you want to sit down and play something with a controller as opposed to sitting at a desk with a mouse and keyboard, which you would need to if you wanted to play Doom.
Yeah, so it's and so every now and again, I got my Steam Link all set up, and then there's a game I've been playing on and off for a long time, Legend of Heroes: Trails in the Sky, which is it's a Japanese RPG. It was originally released for PSP. It was originally released for, I think, PC for like way back when in Japan.
Was it Japan only for PC?
Yeah, it was Japan only a long time ago. God, it was like, I don't know. I'm not even getting the dates, but it was a long time ago.
I think dates have defeated you on this podcast, Josh.
Yes. long ago, there was Trails in the Sky, and it's a trilogy of games. It's all one story, although I think the first two games kind of encapsulate one story, and the third game's kind of like an epilogue. But I finished the first one, and it's really a charming little game. It's very,
What would you compare it to? Is it like Lunar? Is it like Suikoden? Is it
like Chrono Trigger?
Like Chrono Trigger? Stevo's only frame of reference.
I'm trying, guys. I'm trying.
I honestly don't know. It's first off, why do you say lunar? Lunar. It's an English word.
But don't they call it? It's voice acting. Don't they call it Lunar in the game?
I don't know. I never had the Sega CD version, and I don't remember.
Blue Star Lunar. You play in the PlayStation version.
Did it? Oh, I don't remember.
I've never called it Lunar.
I call it Lunar because that's the word that's on the game, and that's the English word. So,
just like we pronounce Lara.
So it's I honestly don't know what to really compare it to. I mean, I'm sure I've played a game that's kind of like it. So the story is basically you're this young girl named Estelle. You've got a stepbrother like an adopted brother named Joshua. And you're
hey there.
Yeah.
Could you relate really well?
Oh yeah, tons. And you're training to become bracers, which are like these mercenaries / militia keepers of the peace type things. And the whole game is basically you trying to become from a junior bracer to a full-fledged bracer. And along the way, you get caught up in the whole, there's a conspiracy going on with the government, yada, 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 stuff like that. It's very typical as far as the setup goes. And I've probably played games that are like that. It's just nothing's coming to mind right now. But the way go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. I was just going to say that before you get into anything too detailed with it, I did play the first few hours of it way back on PSP.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't get that far, so
right.
I can't contribute much beyond this point.
Well, but, it does take a while to get going. I will definitely say that.
That was my problem.
It takes a long time to get going. The thing with these games is that they do a massive amount of world building, which is actually really nice, but getting past the beginning is kind of a slog.
Yeah.
Like anytime.
It's worse than Twilight Princess.
Oh god. Well, that was just because it was a tutorial for 3 hours. But with Trails in the Sky, like they do it so that even after every major event you do in the game, if you go back and talk to like all the NPCs, they've got something different to say. Their each individual NPC story has progressed. So
does that make it easy to follow or hard to follow? Is it like, do you know, okay, I talked to that guy, then I did this thing, I know to go back and talk to him? Or is it like you could go back to him and he might say exactly the same thing? Because that's the kind of thing in RPGs that would drive me nuts.
No.
Knowing who you have to go back and speak to.
No, so you have this overarching story that you're contributing to. Your main characters are, going to this dungeon, fighting this guy, whatever, beat a boss, come back to town. And now say you go talk to like the shop owner. If you talk, he has some other thing going on that's totally separate from the main story. Like he had a shipment that was late or something, but now you go back and talk to him and he'll talk to you about like, oh, well, this is what happened, yada, yada, yada. And then come back again later and maybe he'll tell you even further what's going on or something has happened since the last time you talked to him. So they have like they don't contribute to the main story, and they do contribute to the world as a whole. So like if you're trying to get like really immersed into it and how everything is piecing together, it's just a little extra nice thing you can go into and check out.
And are they interesting stories? Are the characters like compelling? Are they entertaining?
Yeah, for the most part, yeah. I mean, some of the characters do kind of fall into your I guess you can call them like anime tropes. Like Estelle is a brash young girl who, as throughout the game, like she matures and grows and starts becoming more of like a leader, and less rambunctious. But NPCs they do kind of do that. It's a little bit of a smaller scale, but because you are constantly kind of world hopping. Like you're going from this major hub town to this major hub town, and you can't really go back that much. So their stories do kind of end at some point, the NPCs, because just by virtue of you not being there anymore. But the characters are well written. They've got really good dialogue and really good interactions in between the characters. There's one character named Olivier who's like this. I'm just gonna call him horny. He finds beauty in everything, no matter what the sex is. So he's just constantly flirting with everything that moves. And so he's kind of like the comic relief, but he's entertaining. There's even a scene where Estelle beats the living shit out of him, and so it's there's some great moments in the game throughout the dialogue and in between the relationships and with the characters that I really like. So if you're looking for like a really story heavy game, one that kind of like really goes in depth into the world and the characters and stuff. This is probably a good series to start with. I'm definitely going to pick up the second chapter once it goes on sale because I'm cheap. But I'm looking forward to it.
When did they come out on Steam? When did this one come out on Steam? Sorry, I'm asking you dates. I should stop right now.
Yeah, I want to say like a year ago ish.
This one came out
recently.
on let me see, Microsoft Windows, July 29th, 2014. But that must have been like a physical version, and it only came out on Steam later than that.
No, that would. Wow. I think it just came out on Steam. Maybe it has been a lot longer. I didn't think it was that early, but second chapter and the final chapter just came out like within the past. I want to say like year-ish. So if the first chapter was a few years, then the second chapter and final chapter just came out recently. I know that was like past like month or two.
I remember back when the PSP one came out, there was a lot of circles that were really excited about it.
Yeah,
that was why I got it and started playing it. But I must have been playing something else, and it was just going so slow to start that I didn't really get too far. But
and it's understandable. But just as a giant package, it doesn't really break a whole lot of.
Sorry.
God, Jesus Christ. Fucking 12-year-old. It's just a charming game. It's really the way I'll put it. It oozes charm. I really enjoyed it. The giant package oozes charm. It's got a really stiff story. It's not very hard.
Okay, we've done enough. We've done enough puns. Thanks. So I guess the question I'd ask is, would you tell Elliot to go back and play more of it? He loves giant packages, but would you tell me to play it as someone hasn't played many JRPGs at all, or
does not have a giant?
Well, Jesus Christ, guys. So for Steve, I mean, I know one of the big things with you as far as games go or RPGs go is the story any good? And
yep.
And this game, I think, definitely has a good story. It's not really so much, like I mentioned before, it's not like a groundbreaking, oh my God, so many twists and turns story, so much as it's just really well told.
Yeah.
Is it serious? Is it so I could see it easily going, like you mentioned anime tropes, I could see it easily going into those pitfalls, but I could also see it being more of a Valkyria Chronicles where it's got something deeper to tell.
I think a lot, at least of the first game, again, I haven't played the second one, and the second one directly starts once the first one ends. So I definitely have only played half of the story so far. Yeah. But like, it's got a serious story, but a lot of the seriousness just comes from how the characters grow, really. There is some, like I said, government intrigue and some traitors and things like that going on in the background, but that's kind of just like the backdrop for which these characters are growing and progressing. So they do have plenty of goofiness throughout the game because they, like I said, the main character Estelle's this rambunctious tomboy. You got Olivier the Creeper, you got the princess turned student that's just kind of there. But they're all pretty interesting in their own ways. So it's just a lot of them, like I said, do have kind of the tropiness, like the swordsman who's just kind of an asshole, but he really cares, sort of thing.
Yeah. Heart of gold.
Yeah. So they do have those, and they do kind of fall into those, but the way it's all written is done really well. So it's if you like the story, it's really good. The battle system, it's fine. It doesn't really do a whole lot. It's kind of a mixture of like Final Fantasy X's turn-based system, as well as like there's like grid-like movement, but positioning sometimes matters. So like it's interesting, but it's not like amazing or anything. So it's serviceable.
Yeah.
So Josh, you would tell me to stick with Chrono Trigger?
Oh, hell yes. Yeah, I'm not saying drop Chrono Trigger. Go play that, definitely.
Speaking of which, how did that go?
I feel like I'm doing pretty all right. Josh has informed me that I'm not even halfway through yet. But I've been really enjoying it. It looks amazing. Again, 16-bit, beautiful, bright colors. The music. I know I've been talking about every one of these Super Nintendo games I've been playing so far, and I've been talking about how great the music. But Chrono Trigger might be better than any of them.
Yeah.
The one you posted on Twitter, the victory theme, is something. When I was a kid, I frequently joked with one of my good friends about it, that whoever wrote that, and I know who did, I'm a huge fan of his, but we were saying at the time, whoever wrote this had had clearly had a keyboard set up next to his bed, and the first time he got laid, that was the first thing that came to mind, was to play this.
Well, I guess, Elliot, maybe we're going to have you splice this in.
Yeah.
But it is such a great tune. Anytime I like find a solution to something in work, this is playing in my head. You know, it's like the celebration music. It's pretty great.
Just so everybody knows, the intro theme to Rather Be Playing was performed on a keyboard next to Elliot's bed.
And it sounds great.
Yes.
Sounds like victory.
So
it's the greatest victory song, that Chrono Trigger song. And I'm really glad you brought up the music too, because it's that guy is my favorite video game composer.
That guy, do you know his name? You said you know his name, but you haven't said his name. It's a bit weird.
It's Mitsuda. Well, the Uematsu, who does Final Fantasy, and Mitsuda collaborated on it. But Mitsuda did like Chrono Cross, which is, I think, the best video game soundtrack ever made that will ever be made. And
so
he did
Chrono Cross,
Xenogears.
Chrono Cross was a follow-up to Chrono Trigger. Is it the same characters? Was it as good?
It's very different. It's not as well received.
It's a controversial type game in the sense that it's related to the first game, but it takes place in the future. So there are the stories are connected, and there are callbacks to like the original game, but whole new cast, whole new damn near everything. But it's very different. It's a good game, but a lot of people were expecting Chrono Trigger 2 and didn't get it. So I really like the game, and like Elliot said, it's got one of the best soundtracks of any game ever made. But yeah, it's not really like a Chrono Trigger 2 gameplay wise, if you will.
Yeah. It's the only thing really tying the two of them together is the name and the music, the music themes. Yeah,
I quite like the gameplay of Chrono Trigger as well. You know, again, it's turn-based, tactical, and again, for someone who's not used to these kind of games, who's not that familiar with them, I've been getting through pretty well, you know, and I feel like it's pretty straightforward. There's a bit of positioning, you know, you can hit two people in a row if they're on the same, you know, vertical or horizontal stuff. You can hit people in a circle if there is a group within a certain number of squares from each other and stuff. So again, it's not ridiculously complicated, but it's fun, you know. And the boss battles and stuff have been pretty good. But
as long as you listen to the characters and where they tell you to go, like the dude at the end of time that says you should go back to your home period first.
I remember them saying that, but I did that and I didn't know where to go. Josh, don't feel bad. This is like what was there used to be like a Nintendo line that people would phone up for tips and stuff.
Yeah, but it costs money. I wouldn't call them. or rather, my parents would never let me call them.
Well, Chrono Trigger is a work in progress. Hopefully have it finished by the next time we record. And I guess the question is, Elliot, how's your backlog coming on?
So if you listen to the last couple episodes, you might know that I have 2 games in my backlog that because from the first episode, the one I picked, I still haven't finished, and then we did the roulette and I got a second game. So neither of them are done or will be done for quite some time.
Your backlog's getting bigger.
Yeah, my backlog has a backlog. But I did make progress on both of them. I mentioned I was stuck on Metroid Prime and I got unstuck. I made it through Phendrana Drifts, as you mentioned, Josh, having the best music, speaking of music, in Metroid Prime, which I have to say is very, very... I haven't listened to all the music yet, but so far it's true.
Mm-hmm.
Good choice. The Last of Us was fun because I also got unstuck in the part I've been stuck at for over a year.
A lot of people get stuck. A lot of people get stuck there.
Yeah.
Really? Is it known as a?
Yeah, definitely. It was so a tricky bit.
Yeah.
You shouldn't, because you got through it, and you shouldn't have. We were telling you after the fact that you should have dropped a few traps and stuff for when the zombies start running in to get
smarter,
or just snuck past everything. But yeah.
Well, it had been so long since I played. I spent most of the time trying to relearn the controls, but I got through it somehow, and I decided that I was going to do this live on our Twitch stream, which we just set up. As we mentioned
he did
earlier.
a lot of ducking. That's all he needs to do. He was trying a lot of ducking and standing back up.
He's trying to figure out the controls live on Twitch. So we're sitting there going like, there's two guys right behind him. I know they're right behind him, and he's not turning. What's he doing? He's just getting killed.
Yeah, so I was streaming The Last of Us for the first time on our new Twitch channel that we started up, twitch.tv/ratherbyplaying. And unlike Josh's OBS problems that he was having today, it went really fine streaming straight out of the PS4, and it was a great first way to test, except that I was on this part that I had so much trouble with for so long, and I decided I'll try it again live in front of, let me check how many, all 2 followers that we have. So it was a big risk. Subscribe.
You must have been a little nervous, like with the extra eyes on you.
all four of them.
I had 4 extra eyes. I was sweating.
Let it be said that we were judging you. We were judging you based on the amount of ducking and picking up and putting down things that you were doing accidentally.
Yes, you made that plainly clear afterwards. But no, I hadn't played in almost a year. I was
rusty,
relearning the controls, a little rusty, to be fair. I was trying to find the listen button where you duck down and you can see through the walls and stuff.
Yeah.
And I must have hit every button 4 times without the button that I needed to hit, because I was sure that was used for something else. So I just kept saying that clearly isn't used for that. But
you know what? That duck button that I pressed 3 times already, it might be that one.
Maybe. It must be. I was sure that it was push the stick in, but that might be Tomb Raider or something.
Yeah, Tomb Raider and Witcher 3.
Game. I haven't played The Witcher 3. But yeah, it'd be Tomb Raider then.
So you finally got the generator going.
So I'm at that part where you have to turn on the power generator, and then as soon as you do, these swarms of infected come flying out at you.
What do you call the big giant guy who throws spore bombs at you?
The bloater.
Bloater?
No. The bloater was different. The bloater is
Left for Dead, isn't it?
I'm pretty sure it's a bloater also.
Boomer.
Boomer?
Oh no, it's the other way around. Josh was right. We should never question him. He was right.
Except when it comes to dates.
Yes, question me all you want with dates.
So this is a bloater. Was that what that was?
That's right. He's right. The man's right.
Bloater? I didn't think they were that. I thought bloaters were bigger than that. But again, I might be thinking of Left 4 Dead.
So just so you know, you can just sprint to the card reader and you're fine.
Really?
Yeah. Yes, really.
Didn't know that.
I didn't realize that either. I definitely shot that thing in the face a few times.
How'd you put it, Stevo? I definitely could have done with knowing that.
My phone must have been off when you tried that.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't know that was the very next part. I'd never made it that far. I'm getting swarmed, and I still have a lot more building to go through. So I clearly need to take care of this menace, and I did.
So did you literally just finish that section?
I literally finished the section. I went through the building and picked up whatever else there was. You can tell by the pacing that there isn't going to be some other sneak attack after that. So I was still cautious, but I felt pretty free to at least do that. And I went through the next door, and there was human enemies, and so I just stopped there.
So you immediately switched off the console, people, get me away.
Yeah.
Elliot, I feel like you're not giving this game the love that it deserves.
I can tell how good it's supposed to be for sure, and the story is amazing.
Okay, that's it. You have to start this game from the start again. You have to start it from the start. I don't care how long your backlog is. I don't care how many games you have not played that you have been compelled to play. You need to appreciate this game. It's so good.
He'll never get finished.
To be honest, I thought about doing that. I thought about starting it off from the beginning because it just had been so long since I played it. But I've already done that twice. I've started this game over 2 times already.
Couldn't you fly through it at this point, though? Well, looking at your skills the other day, I'm guessing the answer to that is no. But maybe we could give you a little help. I'm offering, we'll get share play on the go. I'll take the controller. We can run through it pretty quick. Yeah, I know the game pretty well by now. I played it through on PS3 and then the remaster on PS4.
Maybe once I get my Grounded playthrough done, I'll come and help you out.
Good God, Grounded.
I'm almost done.
What I'd like to do is do like a PS4 party while I'm streaming it, and then record all our voices, abusing me,
us yelling at you. Yeah. Elliot, what are you doing? It's so easy. Just
stop ducking. Stop ducking.
Hide behind the desk. Throw a bottle. Sneak up behind the guy. Choke him out. Yeah. Simple as that.
And it won't go that way.
Lather, rinse, repeat. It's fun though.
Oh well. Jesus.
But so it's going. It's actually that's actually exactly what I can say, and all I can say is that it's now going where it previously.
I'll believe that when you play it 2 evenings in a row. That's when I believe it's going.
He's got to change his underwear in between playing. So
when did I play last? Was it? Yeah, it was over a day ago. So.
Actually, that's a good question though. How come you find The Last of Us easy to play and Silent Hill scares the shit out of you? What's the difference in those 2 games? Because to me, The Last of Us is still a horror. And when those things were sneaking up on you, and like me and Josh are watching you on Twitch and going, "He's behind you! He's behind you!" Doesn't that kind of freak out?
I had played that part so many times and died that I knew what was around in general.
Yeah.
And those are more jump scares. Silent Hill is psychological fuck up. I can't sleep anymore. Terror kind of thing. So it's a little different, and they elicit a pretty similar response in me, but
tinkle.
Silent Hill is I don't know. It's I don't know what to expect. With The Last of Us, I know the worst thing that's gonna happen is a jump scare. I'm gonna get caught off guard.
Yeah.
But with Silent Hill, like there's gonna be a wall there, and I'm gonna turn around, and there's gonna be no wall, and it's gonna be some like horrible demon, and it doesn't follow the rules of physics or logic when you're playing it.
Yeah.
And that's a little more terrifying.
Have you been playing anything else? Have you been playing anything on the Switch or?
Loads of Rocket League. And I got into Mario Kart a bit more. Speaking of the Switch, played a few. You can play through the what do you even call them? But the cups. You can play through the cups and try to get 3 stars on each cup, and that's kind of all the progress there is.
Is it online now?
Yep. Mario Kart's always been online from the beginning.
I thought Switch didn't have online features yet.
It has online multiplayer, and that's free until the end of the year. And they just talked about this. They finally talked about what the online package is going to reveal, and they did it in this kind of like the sneaky way I found, because it was always going to be you had free online multiplayer until I think it was going to be sometime in the fall. November, October, or something like that.
Yeah.
And then at that point, they would turn on the paid multiplayer features, which is like cloud saves, the NES classics.
Have they confirmed cloud saves?
Yeah, that's going to be a part of it.
Okay, that's good, because that's the kind of thing that you couldn't live without in this day and age.
No. And especially with the Switch, because there's no way else to get your saves off. There's no way to take... your saves.
But knowing Nintendo, that would just mean like screw you. They stay on that Switch, just like the Wii and the Wii U.
The Wii and the Wii U, you could take your saves off.
Yeah, there were SD card slots in the Wii.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I was gonna say that the way Nintendo announced this is like, hey, guess what? Internet stays free until 2018, but it's also you don't get these new features until 3 months after you thought. So it was I don't know. It was a good PR statement, and it's good and bad. We get online multiplayer for longer, but then we're still out of those features for a little longer too, which I'm pretty desperate as a Switch early adopter to get my hands on. But
I'm kind of worried.
It's pretty promising.
I'm kind of worried though about like the how they're adding like multiplayer for normally couch games, like say like Dr. Mario. You know, they're going to do online multiplayer for that.
And Mario 3 as well.
Yeah, I'm really worried.
Mario 3, wow.
Because I just don't know. I mean, I feel like it's gonna be laggy as hell.
Yeah, you have to believe. So it's the console game running. So Mario Kart, for example, or Super Mario Kart. It's going to be running on one person's Switch, and then another person is going to be playing it on theirs, but their screen is going to be seeing the hosts, presumably. Is that right? I guess we don't know that much about it, but that's what we'd assume. Yeah.
Well, because I just imagine you're going to have local copies running on your own game. You know, you'll see the 2-player, I'll see the 1-player, and then. But the thing is there's going to have to be delay because I'm going to input my command. It's got to read it into my game, and then it's got to send it to your game, which is a little different than the way they do online games in general nowadays, where everything's just kind of run synchronously. Yeah. So I'm not optimistic, but I will happily be surprised if it works. So. We'll see.
But I mean, worst case scenario, you are left with the full offline version of Mario Brothers included in your $20 subscription, which is a great fucking price too.
Well, Mario Brothers and Mario Brothers 3, isn't it? But no Super Nintendo yet.
No Super Nintendo yet. No.
Okay.
No.
So
I mean, yeah, it's a good price, and if the library gets big enough, that may actually. I might actually, bite on a Switch. I mean, there's some other stuff that I would really like to see, like a new Metroid and stuff like that. But having a system that does some decent backwards compatibility, and again, the multiplayer. The thing is, if they're going to advertise the multiplayer like that, they need to make it work. I mean, great if you have one little thing there about that. You have the single player experience. That's great, but like, say I want to play. Say they release Secret of Mana. I mean, that'd be insane. I'd want to do 3-player, and that'd be awesome if they could get it to work.
Sorry, catch me up. Secret of Mana is
it's an action RPG on the Super Nintendo. It's
multiplayer.
Yeah, it's multiplayer. You can actually have 3 players.
Did Super Nintendo have like a multi-tap or something?
It did.
Yep.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and speaking of that, they did the Sega Tetsu collection for Switch. Yeah,
I know.
So, but there's no online multiplayer on that, is there? I'm pretty sure there isn't. But if something like that were to come to the US and they could make the online work, that's the kind of stuff that we dreamed of as kids, to be able to play with your neighbor down the street online with your favorite classic multiplayer game, like Super Mario Kart, F-Zero, all those. But so I can't think of too many NES games that I'm dying to play online, but Super Nintendo for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Loads of them.
Especially
Street Fighter.
Especially if they branch out to like N64 or Game Boy Advance, you get some Killer Instinct Gold or actually, I don't know if Sword of Mana was 2-player or not. Actually, Game Boy Advance didn't have a ton of multiplayer games anyway, but still.
So that's kind of what worries me, is $20 a year and you get the entire library the entire time you're subscribed. Seems too good to be true from Nintendo. And I could see that for NES games, but it would have to go up in price for SNES. It'd have to go up to $30 a year, or you'd have to for Nintendo 64 $40 a year, for GameCube $50. I see that as a low bar, an easy way to get people in.
Yeah.
And then
that would be a great model. That would work for me. If there was proper backward compatibility, if there was, and that has been my big pet peeve with Nintendo for the last few generations. It's this thing of, releasing a different version of the virtual console, charging you again for the same games. If it was more of a subscription service, and if they did, sort that kind of thing out, then maybe I would be more likely to buy it on the Switch again.
Yeah.
But
no, yeah, if it was like an entire library that they had set up like that, then yeah, definitely I would be way more inclined to actually be excited about it than the simple, oh well, I have a Wii and I bought Final Fantasy 3, but now I've got a Switch, got to buy Final Fantasy 3 again, sort of thing.
Yeah,
gets kind of obnoxious,
and that does suck. That's really annoying. But at the same time, I'm not a huge fan of this games as a service thing. I think.
Well, as an adult, is a great thing. Come on, if we can pay a monthly subscription and get, Sony is a perfect example. If we can pay for PSN, PS4 online capability, and get Rocket League free, or get like what's free this month, Life is Strange, and really good games, really solid and fun games, then as an adult who can afford to pay monthly fees, that's great. If you didn't have as much money, if you were, just buying one game a year or 2 games a year, then it's a whole different ball game,
It's great for convenience too, but you have to ask what happens when the servers get shut down. I mean, we even have situations where licenses get revoked and games are no longer offered they're not even streamed, and you can't even sell them online anymore, and you'll never play them again.
Yeah, what if Steam goes down tomorrow?
Yep,
exactly.
So I mean,
but I mean, games as a service is a step further away from ownership from that,
right?
Yeah, but then on the flip side of that, it's also a way of having a game now that, for example, is only a physical release right now. So, like, what if what do you call it? Nier. One of Josh's favorites on PS3, you can only buy it on physical. Now, we've been talking about this recently because Nier Automata came out, and Josh has been telling us, oh, you got to go back and play the original. But because you can only buy it on physical disc, and I don't want to find it or boot up a PS3, I have no interest in finding and picking it up, But if, say, it was on PS Now and I could play it on PS4 streaming, then maybe I'd be tempted to do it,
Well, and this kind of goes back to the whole. I mean, you look at who was it? Jim Ryan.
Yeah.
God.
The backwards compatibility. Yeah.
So he came out with what did he say? He said that he saw some he saw some conference. I guess they were talking about backwards compatibility, and he specifically referenced the old Gran Turismo games. And he was looking at like 1, 2, and 3 and saying, why would anybody want to play these?
Yeah.
And I really think he missed the point.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
There's definitely some aspects where I'm saying. They made Trails in the Sky. I'll go back to that. I don't want to go back and play the PSP version now because the new version that they have on PC, it's on PC and it's a platform that's actually supported nowadays, and it's also it looks prettier, and they made it a lot nicer and crisper and all that. So there's something to be said about remasters and stuff, but going back and wanting to play so let's take Parasite Eve. It was an old RPG on the PlayStation 1 by Squaresoft. Never released on anything but the PlayStation, and it had it had one sequel, and then supposedly there was a third one that was released, but I'm pretty sure that it doesn't actually exist. But I want to go back and play that. I mean, if someone wants to remaster it, then great, that's fine, but it's not. So I really enjoyed it back then. I've played it since then, and I really enjoy it now. It's I don't understand the argument that he's making, because I think nostalgia does play a large factor in wanting to play games that you remember from either your childhood or, like in Stevo's case, games that he never got to play but may want to.
Yeah, and in Sony's case, I feel like they've missed the point several times over here. They've tried to use PS Now to get people playing backwards compatible games, and that's not how people want to play backwards compatible games. People don't want to stream a game that potentially they own on disc on PS3 at the same time. They want to be able to take that PS3 disc, put it in a PS4, and play it. That's true backward compatibility. For a Sony exec to make comments like this, say, oh, people aren't really, our statistics say people aren't really using backwards compatibility. What he's saying is people aren't using PS Now. And of course people aren't. because it's an expensive service. It doesn't have enough games on there that are, true classics or things that people want to buy. And, I've given it a go for a couple of games, and some of it doesn't hold up that well. So I tried playing Eco and Shadow of the Colossus, two classics by both of your, opinions, as far as I can tell.
Great games.
And tried playing them, but they're a bit slow. They're a bit hard to get into. And then it's like, I'm not going to play them every single day. If I had them on disc, I might pick it up on a Sunday afternoon every couple of months. But I'm not going to sit down and play it within a month,
You're not going to.
Which is what PS Now requires you to do, basically, because it's so expensive. You want to just switch it on for a month, play the game through, and then switch it off. But with games like this, you want to take your time. You want to enjoy them as you would have done if you were able to throw a PS3 disc into a PS4 whenever you like.
So would you consider like PS1 downloads on PS3 a form of backwards compatibility? Like a selected,
no, again, I feel like this
or like
is
Xbox
Sony.
360 on Xbox One is the same kind of thing.
No,
you can put the disc in. You can
exactly.
Put the disc in.
So
Right.
So Microsoft have actually done this one right, which again we give them a lot of stick for a lot of decisions that they make, but this one was fantastic. They're trying to get Xbox 360 games running on the Xbox One, and they're trying to get them running as well or better than than they actually ran on the previous console, and that's fantastic. A game streaming on PS Now doesn't look as good as it did even on the PS3. Never mind taking advantage of the PS4's capabilities.
Well, the Xbox One's just emulating a 360, right?
Yeah.
Well, so that's kind of the problem. So with PS3, the architecture they use to build the PS3 is ridiculously complex. Like it's why even independent people trying to emulate the PS3, it's taking forever. Like I feel like someone just now got Demon Souls to run or something at a decent rate. Like it's slow going.
But that's an amateur developer sitting in their house playing with this stuff, in their own spare time. That's not the might of Sony's engineers.
Yeah, but you're still asking them to take a very complicated hardware architecture and change it into a software process, which is still intensive, time consuming. Like even so,
I think the fact that we're repeating this, knowing very little about it. Yes, the architecture is different than modern gen.
No, I'm saying that's why they did PS Now, because even like the PS3, the ones that had backwards compatibility for the PS2, that was just they had a PS2 in the PS3.
Or they saw this gap in the market. Let's sell games as a service. We've heard it in the news the last few days. Like, was it Take-Two talking about games as a service? How they're going to milk GTA for online for everything it's worth? Like, this is the way companies make money now. And
I'm not defending them. I'm just saying that's one of the reasons.
But you can't say definitively that Sony didn't say, hey, it costs just as much to put this in as to do this, but this way we get people on the hook for life.
Well, yeah. I mean, they're going to make a business decision that way. I'm not going to, it's effort. I mean, they're going to put, it's like with, Microsoft supporting Windows XP. I mean, sure, there's still some people out there running XP and they're idiots, but they're good. They stop supporting it.
I don't quite think that's a fair analogy. Well, what I would put it like this. Sony made a decision. Let's spend millions of pounds purchasing Gaikai, is it?
Gaikai,
their streaming service. Now, they could have put a fraction of that into working out how to get an emulator running on PS4. That was a business decision that they made because they knew they could get people paying for a service monthly. So,
But that's not been panning out. But if you also look at like the PS2 classics on PS4, those have largely been doing well. Like, especially I know Rockstar's games, the Grand Theft Autos and Bully and stuff, those have sold pretty well as far as PS2 classics go on PS4.
Jack and Daxter's coming too. That's hotly anticipated.
Then you're paying a second time for something that you already bought. So we got to give Microsoft props for doing it right. And
well, no. I'm definitely Microsoft's doing it right. But I'm saying at least with the PS2's classics on PS4, you're doing what Elliot was talking about earlier, where it's only one step away from ownership, as opposed to streaming where you don't own it at all.
Yeah.
Whereas,
true.
So it's still shitty, but it's less shitty.
And it's enhanced, like they're high definition.
They add trophies.
Yeah.
Are they higher definition? Are they higher?
Yeah.
Resolution?
They're up-resed. They're not necessarily like remastered, but they're up-resed.
They're what's the word? I can't think of it right now. It's not.
Maybe if Josh says up-res some more, you'll just
one
agree
more
with
time.
him, Elliot.
Say it one more time.
Up-resed.
Never mind. It's up-resed.
What'd we say about arguing with me?
But they do the same thing that like PCSX2 does, where they run it several times the native resolution.
Yeah. And that's the other thing too, is if I have all my PS2 discs, so I mean there is the couch. Well, even now that I got Steam Link working, I would still probably pop my disc into my PC, run PCSX2, and then stream it to my television. One, I already own the game, and so I don't have to pay for another license to actually play it on my PS4. So there's that benefit. It's again, I'm not saying it's good, but at least to some extent, it's available.
Okay. So there's one argument where it's better than nothing. You get this game that you otherwise wouldn't be playing, and you pay for the convenience of having it on the most recent console in most cases, unless you have an Xbox One, and then you don't have to do that.
And I mean, I'm only giving them that credence because Nintendo is worse at it. Like Nintendo, it's the same thing with a virtual console. Virtual console, if I had a Wii U, and a Switch, I would have bought, and as well as the 3DS, I would have bought Legend of Zelda 1 4 times or 3 times or whatever. Whereas,
hi, my name's Elliot. Have we met?
Yeah. Whereas with the PS4,
that's what I did.
With the PS4, this is the first time they're doing it. So it's still shitty, I guess, but the blow is a little bit lessened because it's the first time they're actually doing it.
And as well, I guess, Sony, we're going to allow them away with certain things because they do other things perfectly. Elliot talking about getting the streaming up and going as easily as it was. Like Sony's online services are second to none. So, we do give them a little leeway.
Are we entitled to be able to play the same game on the next console?
It depends whether they do, half generations and half steps. Are they going to, with Sony, I guess it looks like they're going to bring out a PS5, whereas Microsoft are talking about Scorpio, and it sounds like more of an iteration from Xbox One.
I'll answer your question. No, we're not entitled. But from a good business standpoint, I think it's something I don't want to say expect, but it would be in the consumer's interest for it to happen. Because I mean, if you go back and look at all sorts of technologies, I mean, like I don't have a cassette tape anymore, or I don't have a cassette player anymore. I mean, I could go find my old cassettes rather than. But
RCA doesn't owe you the CD version of all your cassettes to play.
Basically,
on the
yes.
Next version, you bought those cassettes to be played on that cassette player.
Yes.
Just like you bought Parasite Eve to be played on PS1. Sony doesn't owe you the PS1 download of Parasite Eve for free.
Right.
If you want to play it on PS3.
I mean, it's the problem that does come is that like the difference there though is that it has been released on this newer technology. I can go get a CD version of Journey's Greatest Hits rather than the cassette. Whereas with PlayStation, with Parasite Eve,
Journey's Greatest Hits isn't that just Don't Stop Believin' 10 times?
Don't Stop Believin', Wheel in the Sky. There's a few more. Lily loves Journey, so I just have heard them all, and it's all kind of meshed together.
I have been to bars in America, and I no longer love Journey.
Oh yeah, same here. Same here.
Every night at the end of the night. Yeah. Just
I don't like Don't Stop Believing anymore because of that. But yeah, it's definitely that and Living on a Prayer. No more Living on a Prayer for me either. God.
Oh, but it's Bon Jovi.
He could suck a.
You said that in a strange tone, but it's Bon Jovi.
But yeah, so my point is that with things like CDs and Blu-rays and all that, and DVDs, the next format, at least for the most part, you can get that old collection on the new one. Whereas with like say Parasite Eve, I can get that on PlayStation 1. I guess they did release it on Vita, so maybe not the best example, but there are plenty of games like back on PlayStation 1 and whatnot that I can't play anymore because my PlayStation 1 is broken. Now I do have a PlayStation 2, so technically I still can, but let's just assume I don't.
PS3 plays all the PS1 games.
Shut up. You know what I mean?
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
Disc and download.
Does PS4 play any PS1 games?
No, it doesn't.
No, which is the most baffling part because it's 100% software, so it's clearly 100% a business decision for them. That's when you kind of see through their veil there, or whatever they're trying to put up as a convincing argument for the directions they've taken for backwards compatibility.
So, do you think there'll be any console announcements at E3 in a few weeks now?
I'd be surprised.
Yeah, is
Microsoft going to go hard on Scorpio, or will it be barely mentioned?
So that's what I've been kind of wondering is, and as you said, we've been hard on Microsoft before, but I am trying to objectively fairly understand where Scorpio fits in all of this, because it seems like too late to make something of this level when PS4 is probably going to come out in the next year or two.
PS5
with PS5 here. So where does it really stand? And we don't really have all the details either. So
and I know nothing.
Yeah. Yes, Josh, our resident Microsoft employee.
He's not giving anything away.
I may or may not know anything, but I can't say anything anyway. So yeah.
So yeah, no, the question is, like, we've already got the specs for Scorpio and they do look pretty impressive, but they also look pretty expensive still. So can Microsoft even afford to release it this year before those components are cheaper, before or if they release it at that, they're going to have to charge $600 minimum. Like I've heard comparable PC specs would cost $800, more than that.
It depends on how they brand it. I think if they're branding it as like a competitor to the PS4, then that's kind of weird. If they're branding it as like an upgrade to everything that's currently out right now, maybe a slightly better shot. I mean, they kind of are in between generations in doing this. If like the Xbox One hasn't been out that long, as far as generations go. Yeah, so it's a little odd. But
what if they come out and they say, okay, there'll never be an Xbox 2, What if they come out and they actually say, okay, this is it. It's all iterations from now on. Does that totally flip the script on Sony, or will Sony continue doing their own thing? Or do you think Microsoft just aren't doing that? You think Scorpio is a different thing, won't necessarily play Xbox One games?
Well, I think it'll definitely play Xbox One games. I don't think it's its own thing.
Yeah.
But I also kind of think the way we're headed architecture-wise, that going forward, we are going to see this sort of thing where everything's going to be basically an iteration. I think PS5 will be completely backwards compatible with PS4.
But how can you think that when PS4 has got away from backwards compatibility? As you say, they even stripped out PS1 PC.
Well, the thing is, once around the time PS4 came out is kind of when PS4, Xbox One, and stuff, they all started becoming more and more PC-like.
Yeah.
So they're kind of hitting that event horizon where consoles are basically trying to become PCs. Just with their own OS, their own standardized platform, they're doing their own thing. So we're at the point now where obviously the consoles aren't going to be upgradable in this like a PC is, where I can just swap out my video card and put a new one in later on down the road. But they're at least getting to that point now where they're probably going to have to do minimal changes to the architecture, just because coming up with their own is a pain in the ass. And it just makes a smart business sense to come up with something that is largely standard, maybe with their own little tweaks here and there. So, I mean...
So you think Sony holds off and the PS5 is backward compatible for everything on PS4?
I wouldn't be surprised at this, what you were saying, Josh, with the architecture, in looking at I think they're all doing that. Like you look at Switch, it's a tablet. They could come up with another one every 2 years without the dock, without the controllers that your current controllers clip right into it for $200, $300, certainly not more than $300. You know, it's
so then Scorpio is basically just an Xbox equivalent of PS4 Pro, and it goes nowhere.
I think that's what it is. And you know, the other question is, do developers play to the lowest common denominator, which is PS4 has the biggest install base by a wide margin, and it's a little weaker than what the Scorpio is going to be like. So does Scorpio's extra power even matter at this point?
Yeah. Well, it's going to, and if they're already tweaking things to make them slightly better on PS4 Pro, then they can slightly tweak them a little bit more to make them slightly better on Scorpio, and presumably that's PS5. Not that much more difficult.
Well, yeah, but you also got to look at it from a global perspective. Xbox is like almost a non-entity in Japan.
Yeah.
I mean, it's getting better, but it's still nothing like Sony or Nintendo.
So I just keep coming back to, like, I can't decide what their strategy is even making the Scorpio. It should have come out last year at the same time as the Pro to really compete, or ahead of the Pro. But I think you brought this up a minute ago, Stevo, the components were probably too expensive at that point, and so they're waiting this year, and I still think they're probably too expensive. I don't think it'll be as high as 600, but I don't think it'll be under 400 by any stretch, and by then the Pro will definitely have a price drop.
Or maybe the big E3 announcement will be Microsoft stops making hardware. cancels Scorpio, just like it's canceled all the games that it had in development, like Scalebound, and
it shows up at the E3 massive trade show, has a huge conference. We're out.
Show's over, guys. Everybody go home.
I thought I saw something about Scalebound recently.
Halo 6 for Switch.
Scalebound was canceled unless it was picked up by someone else.
No, they renewed the trademark for it back in mid-May.
That's the only news that I've seen, though.
Yeah.
It's very strange.
So maybe it's just in limbo for right now, but I don't know. I mean, it looked okay, but it wasn't something I was super excited about.
I thought it looked awesome. It's by the same guys that did Bayonetta and Metal Gear Rising, Vanquish.
Yep.
Speaking of developers that did games, I have a small correction from the last episode. I think I said that Ninja Theory did Horizon when it was actually Guerrilla Games.
Oh,
that's right. That makes more sense. I can see the logo in the intro to Horizon.
Yeah, it's the Killzone people.
I agreed with you. I agreed with you, but I thought something was off.
And yeah, you could tell. You're like, yeah.
I was just like, that doesn't sound right, but I don't know dates, so maybe Elliot knows developers.
By that point, you'd been wrong several times in the episode, and I think you just gave up.
Yeah, I was just like, not going to worry about it anymore. Just correct me whenever. So
yeah, but indeed. All right, is that a show, you think? Wrap it up, or
I think so. So what else have we got going on in the next couple of weeks?
Yeah,
Josh.
No, do me last.
Okay. Yeah, so we're going to be hopefully playing some more games. Stevo might have Chrono Trigger finished. I don't think I'm going to be any closer to either of my games because, as I said, we're, instead of recording every 2 weeks, these next few weeks we're going every week. So cutting off a bit of the time that we are usually used to because busy travel plans.
Elliot, I'm stepping in here. No, you're playing The Last of Us. Just cancel your trip. You're playing The Last of Us.
Cancel Japan. I'm definitely going to play it. You'll see it streaming within the next couple of days again. I just don't know if I'll finish it by the next recording.
Well, if you need help, get on Twitch and we'll be your cheerleaders. And if you really want some answers, do what I do. Call Josh in the middle of the night.
Just please not tonight. I'm exhausted.
No.
Actually, so for the next week, I mean, like I said, the wife's out for the week, so I'll be playing Doom. I'm probably going to have it finished by the next episode. I'm a third of the way done, I think, right now. So I'm getting there. But coming up soon on June 19th is the Final Fantasy V 4-Job Fiesta. It's an annual challenge that happens across the internet. What?
It's across the whole internet. I thought it was just a Gaff thing.
No. I mean, the guy posts on Gaff, but it's
got across the whole internet.
Well, yeah, the entire internet. There's no corner left unturned. But I mean, so it's for Child's Play charity. That last year, I think they raised $20,000 for it. But the basic gist of it is you register via Twitter and you play through Final Fantasy V. And there's a Twitter bot that he runs that assigns your characters the various jobs that you're going to play to beat the game. So like there's 4 different crystals in the game that give you jobs. The first one gives you Thief, Monk, White Mage, Black Mage, Knight, and something else and Blue Mage. So the Twitter bot will assign you one of those 6 jobs, and all of your characters have to be that job until you get to the next crystal, which you'll get a new job. And everybody has to be one of the 2 jobs that you currently have until you get all the way up to the 4th crystal, and you have one of each job then, and you beat the game from there. There's other variations that are on the website, forjobfiesta.com, and I definitely recommend checking it out preferably if you've played Final Fantasy V before.
If you have any idea of what Josh just said.
I'll explain it to you in the off time, Stevo. But
I look forward to it.
I've done it every year since he started, which I want to say was like 2009. And I think there's only one year I didn't finish, and it was mostly just because I got really busy I think I changed jobs or something, so I didn't get a chance to finish. But pretty much all job combinations, the game is still beatable. So it's a lot of fun. It's for charity, so definitely go check it out on forjobfiesta.com. Secondly, I actually have a friend of mine, my friend Tess from high school. She and another friend of hers, Eric, they're both librarians, and they've started up a podcast on their own called Same Team Y'all, which is a podcast that's about basically all sorts of geeky pop culture stuff. They did a lot of stuff on Wonder Woman, Guardians of the Galaxy, Twin Peaks. They talk a lot about comics, things like that. So they're hilarious guys. I've met Eric a couple times. They're both just a bunch of lovable goofballs. Is probably the best way to put it. So their podcast is called Same Team Y'all. You could find them on Twitter at Same Team Y'all, as well as their website, which is sameteamyall.blueberry.com. And Blueberry has no E's in it. So
yeah, it's a podcast hosting service.
Oh, is it? Okay.
BRRY.
Yeah. So check them out there. They're, as Steve would say, a great bunch of lads. So I would definitely check them out if you've got some spare time.
Very nice. Cool. Thanks for joining us. If you want to hear or follow any of our shenanigans during these off times, you can visit our website at ratherbecast.com. Twitter is at RBPcast. The 3 of us also have our own Twitters at RBP, Josh, Elliot, Stevo. And we tend to communicate a bit about the games we're playing across those accounts. If you have questions, we'd be happy to read them online on our podcast. And you can email them to questions@ratherbecast.com. I mentioned the Twitch stream. We are going to try to Twitch more of our backlogs as we play them, and that's twitch.tv/ratherbyplaying.
Once I get my stupid stream fixed.
Yeah, once Josh's works, and then you can watch me figuring out how to duck on The Last of Us. Listen to us, iTunes, Google, SoundCloud. I guess Spotify does spoken word now. We got to get on there. We're not on it yet. Unless they just pick up the iTunes feed. I'll have to look into that.
Yeah.
Shoot. I think that's everything. Man, I've been missing most of that stuff for the last couple of episodes, but I think I got them all.
Good job. Yeah. Good job.
Yeah. We're proud of you.
Thanks, guys.
So proud. He's all grown up.
I know. It's a big play.
Yeah, so until next time, make sure you play your games. They're not going to play themselves. Thanks, guys. You want to say bye, or you're just kidding?
Bye, Josh's cat.
Yeah.
See you guys later.
All right.